Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm glad you could join me today. I know that life gets pretty hectic. I was walking with Timber the other day, as I so often do, and I saw a spider crossing the road. That sounds like a joke, doesn't it? He was just a little bitty guy, the spider, just a crawling along over this dirt road. I thought, wow, he doesn't even know I'm here. Well, maybe he does, but it doesn't really matter to him. He's tiny, and I'm huge. We are on completely different scales. My world, the world as it exists to me, means nothing to him. Likewise, his world means nothing to me. His entire world, all of his nooks and high branches, his crevices and byways, these are so small as to be invisible to me. My entire world, all of my trails and hangouts, all of my animals and chores, these are impossibly large and immensely far away. It's like talking about paths on Alpha Centauri. We both live in the same place and time, practically on top of each other, yet our worlds are so entirely different that they are almost inconceivable. I often think similar thoughts about the trees. Here they are all around me, yet we are on different planes. Their experience of the world is totally foreign to me, based not on vision but on chemical perception, ruled not by going or by doing, but by growing and by responding. The same sun strikes us both, but it means totally different things to us. The same breeze blows past, but we want opposite parts of it. Time, distance, sensation, all of these things have completely different scales. These are just my closest neighbors, mind you, the people I live alongside, that I see every day, that I wave to on the street. Imagine how impossibly different the world of a fish would be. How about the birds who spend their days looking down on us as we look up at them? The cave-dwelling cephalopods who never see daylight at all? The earthworms below our feet? The mosquitoes living out on the far distant tundra? Now, the point of all this musing is not that life forms live different lives. I mean, it is, but it's not. The point is that we are not the only way. We as humans get so caught up in our own lives, in our own worlds. For good reason. I'm not saying you should live your life thinking about the ants on your counter and how the world must seem to them. That's not going to help you do your dishes or organize the sock drawer. I'm just saying that once in a while, we should stop and consider the experiences that others have. Not just spiders and trees, of course. This is part of that walk a mile in their shoes thing. Put yourself in their position, look at the world through their eyes. Yes, it breeds compassion, it encourages understanding, but it also gives perspective. Everywhere I turn these days, I hear people talking about the end of the world. It's nuclear war or the rapture or a zombie apocalypse. Scary stuff, sure, but is it the end of the world? Our world, perhaps, our societies and civilizations, but is it the end of the world? That spider isn't too worried about a rapture. I'm willing to bet that the trees wouldn't be that bothered about a zombie outbreak. Nuclear war, sure, in the sense that nuclear radiation might kill a bunch of stuff, but even that wouldn't be everywhere all at once. Those distant Arctic mosquitoes wouldn't hear about it for a while. That's really the crux of it. We talk about the world, we talk about life, but what we mean is our worlds and our lives. Who the our is changes, but generally speaking, we're talking about humans, specifically modern humans that we identify with in some way. We erase these other worlds, these other lives, until and unless they intersect with ours. And again, I'm not saying that's wrong in the sense that we as individuals have to focus on our own individual lives. I can't possibly be thinking about the worlds of every single insect and fungus that I pass by. I have things to do. But in ignoring these other worlds and other lives, we begin to suppose that our own worlds and our own lives are the only ones. Not simply that if it doesn't appear in our lives, it isn't important to us, but that if it doesn't appear in our lives, it isn't important to anyone. Perhaps that it doesn't exist at all. This way of thinking lends itself very easily to an individualized sort of narcissism, in which we all only care about the things that affect us personally. Again, it's not necessarily a bad thing to care more about the things that actually directly impact your life, but it is a problem when you start to believe that only things that directly impact your life are worth caring about. I was talking to Miss Betty the other day about policy here in Alaska and how there's a debate ongoing regarding a new oil field exploration way up in the Arctic. She was all for it, said we should drill wherever we can because, and I quote, who cares about a 5 mile piece of tundra way out where no one will ever see it? And I said that just because humans are not living there doesn't mean that no one needs it. It's a delicate ecosystem that many plants and animals rely on, and it's all too easy for us to trample and destroy it, even if we don't mean to. She was befuddled by this point and kept insisting that if you ever saw it, you wouldn't think it was so worthwhile. There's nothing there. I maintained that a lack of human occupancy is not the same as nothing there. And she maintained that a place or a thing did not have value beyond the value it gave to and was given by humans. Now, there's a whole discussion here to be had about value, what it means, and who defines it, and why we ought to care. But that's a topic for another time. For now, let's go back to our little spider. His whole world is nothing there to us. His life, his parents' lives, his children's lives, everything he has ever known or done or seen, it is all nothing there to us. The tundra mosses that grow and die without ever knowing a human gaze, these are nothing there to us. The lichen on the rocks, little patches of life barely the size of a thumbnail, these are nothing there. The same could be said of the night sky. There's nothing there. Distant balls of gas whose light only reaches us millions of years after the fact. The vast ocean stretching endless to the horizon. There's nothing there. But would not the spider say the same thing as I crossed his path? He would look around and say to his spider friend, I don't see anything. What are you talking about? Because he is looking for blades of grass to climb, or small stones to shelter beside, or tasty bugs to lunch on. He's not looking at me. We humans are in a somewhat unique position, or at least we tell ourselves we are, of being able to stop and look around and think about things beyond ourselves. We have the capacity to consider not just what is, but what is not, what might be, what could have been. We have the ability, at least to some degree, to see these other worlds, to peek into them and marvel. If we try, we can peer up and down across the scale of being and glimpse these other realms. And maybe we don't have to do it all the time. Maybe we should be content on our own scale most of the time. But once in a while, I think it's worth the while to creep up to the windows and get up on your tiptoes and catch a glimpse of the other worlds that overlap ours. I think it's worth taking a moment to stop and ask what nothing there really means and who would argue against it. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe value really is limited to what is given by humans. But before we can make that case, before we can even talk about what value is and whether these other worlds have it, we have to understand that these other worlds exist at all. We have to know what these things are that we're talking about. You can't haggle the price of gold before you've even acknowledged it exists. If you will humor me, my friends, I ask you to take a moment, maybe not today, but perhaps tomorrow, and find another world. Figure out whose it is, what it contains, and how it would view your own. As is often the case with travelogues, what you find might just tell you more about where you came from than what you're looking at. Thank you for joining me here today, and I hope you will come back and join me again next week. Until then, I wish you cats for your lap and birds for your branches. Be well, my friends.